What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about 3 DLC possibilities for Resident Evil Village. So, I've brought up the idea of DLC before. In fact, we've even made a specific video for one of them. I won't spoil it because that will make its way into this video as well. But if you guys want me to make videos specifically on any of the things I'm about to say, definitely let me know, okay? And I can maybe spin off and do its own video. And anything else Resident Evil that you guys maybe want me to cover, let me know in the comments as well. I have a few other ideas for Resident Evil that we're going to be continuing to do, and then after that, where it's kind of a wait and see, right? We see if there's DLC, and if there is, I'll for sure cover it, new games, etc., okay? If you guys are new here, or if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're getting so close to 50. I can basically feel it, if you can feel numbers. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. Give the video a like. Definitely helps the video out, helps YouTube spread it. Okay, again, we made a video for one of these, so I'll get her out of the way first, and not in a malicious way, because I do actually really want this. Ada Wong, okay? Is it possible that we get... Well, I just spoiled it, so I'll leave that part in. But again, will we get DLC for Resident Evil Village? I think it's very likely. I do. I think there's actually a group of people out there that really think it's not likely, and I respect them. And if you don't think DLC is coming, or you don't want DLC, I mean, hey, that's completely your place to do that. I'm not going to police your thoughts, okay? I'm definitely not that person. This isn't that channel. You can have whatever belief you want. I think they'll follow the 7 mold, not no pun intended, and they will do DLC for this game. Whether it's like an hour long, whether it's an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and whether it's only like one of them, whether it's 2, but I do think we will get DLC for this game, and I would argue we probably get it somewhere around the late fall, maybe like October, November, December thing, okay? All opinionated, all just my opinions. I'll make sure, like, I'll, have my eyes out for stuff, and I ever see leaks about it or rumors about it, I'll be sure to cover it, but that's something we should say early. I do think there'll be DLC, story DLC. There could be, like, additional smaller things, mercenary things even, but I guess I'm mainly talking about, like, character-driven stuff. So Ada Wong, we talked about it in that video. Look, she was supposed to be in the game. She was cut out. So they've already thought about it. You know what I mean? They've already thought about, okay, well, how does she fit? Because, yeah, the scene would have just been her saving Ethan when he got that arrow through the knee, which is pretty funny they did that. But in reality, like, there's got to be a little bit more behind it of, like, why she's there. You know what I mean? And there was a little bit more even in the concept art. But in general, I think it would be a good opportunity to throw her in. Another thing, and I did say this in that video as well, they wouldn't be starting from scratch as much as people maybe would think, right? Because they already have her character model, because they have the sketch. They know exactly what she would look like. And you could argue we don't know how far that made it into production. So yeah, they sketched the stuff, but did they animate her? Do they have an actress for her? Like, how far did it get into production? I don't know that answer. Maybe you guys do, and you can let me know in the comments, but they know what she would look like, both her face and then her like Bloodborne looking outfit, right? So they have all that. So I think it would be cool. You throw another female in, female empowerment. That's always important to some people. But no, I mean, reality, she's amazing. She's a really cool character. She's a fantastic, like, anti-hero. A lot of people like her. I really don't think you can go wrong with her character. And I think, yeah, again, as you make more of these games, and even as you stop probably at 9, right, to do the spin-offs afterwards, I think you probably still have a place in Resident Evil for some of these legacy characters. Ada Wong, Chris, Leon, Jill, Claire, all these characters, they can always be revisited, in some new way, right? So I hope for it. I think it's honestly got a really big possibility, but but I also don't know if it's the most likely of all of these, okay? Number 2, Chris. Now, which Chris? I guess I can come up with 2 of them, because there are 2 different things that people have thrown around in terms of Chris. Now, I've thought the same thing. I'm not stealing anything, but the first thing is they could easily do, and this has been done before in games and even in movies, they could do the reverse perspective of where Chris was during Village. Now, it would be short. That's the thing is, now Resident Evil Village is a short game, right? And we just had the discussion if it's too short a few days ago, but it is a short game. you do obviously play as Chris a little bit, and as I said in my review of this game, I actually really liked that. Like, I'm not a big fan of all of the action towards, like, the last, 25% of the game, but the Chris stuff, I mean, they made him a badass, right? The whole purpose of him, I would almost say the whole purpose of playing as him was to show, yeah, he's not just in it for a couple scenes. He actually is very well trained. He does a lot of damage. He's very, very cool, right? So I would definitely not mind playing as him. We know a little bit about what he did during Village, but they definitely kept it open enough where they could tell their own thing. I mean, it seems like he was always somewhat behind Ethan, but always at the same time somehow ahead of him. You know what I mean? Because like the way he references things, and then like they set up at the church at some point, and they kind of go over like a mission briefing. You can read this right in the computer as to like what Ethan's kind of already done. So like for that, I kind of feel like they're a little behind. But then like he makes it to Moreau's like lair, kind of like swamp. He makes it there before you, and he always is talking down to you as if you can't handle things, even though at that point you've already killed 2 lords and you're about to kill the 3rd. So like it would be, I think, really fun to see what Chris was doing. The I guess interesting thing, or the thing that holds it back, is like I don't know if he could interact with any of the lords because they've already, you know what I mean? I mean, one thing I will say, he did mention Heisenberg in one of the reports at the factory. Like if you, right before you go into the tank, you can go around and he does have like a report that he wrote out. So maybe he's interacted with Heisenberg, but to me that's really the only one. And the only reason I say that is because like, is he just gonna go around killing Lycans and being like one step ahead or behind of Ethan the whole time? Like, is that the whole purpose? That would kind of be lame, I think. It wouldn't be like the best thing you could do. But if you were to throw in some stuff that's already established, maybe some cutscene stuff like that, it would be interesting. I mean, his squad seems pretty cool. Like, they seem like some cool people that have a relationship with him. So that's something you can explore. Heisenberg, which I think is a lot of people's one of their favorite lords, right? I think that could be something you explore where maybe they ran into each other and Heisenberg escaped or something like that, right? I think that would be pretty darn cool. The second, and I'll make this shorter, the second thing for Chris is the ending of the game, like the very end. So obviously the BSAA, he's talking about them, like we all know who they are in general, and he even directs the pilot of the ship, or of the helicopter, to fly to one of their headquarters, and he says like somebody's got to pay for like all this stuff that happens. And the way they threw that kind of in there, not just that too, but also like the agents they sent in to kind of take out Mother Miranda, but we're not exactly sure, right? They themselves were bioweapons. So like there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Now, is that setting up some sort of 2-hour long DLC where we find out why they were there, what they're up to currently, stuff like that? I think that's definitely possible, especially because of the time skip at the end. It's not really something you would expect them to revisit in 9, right? Because it's so far after. You would just have imagined that Chris would have sorted it all out. And that's one of the reasons I think that people, or at least I assume, and it's kind of even why I've said, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the time skip, because number one, anything could have happened in that time period that they're just kind of jumping over. Or they're maybe assuming that nothing happened in that time, which actually sounds pretty odd for a Resident Evil universe, right? That's one thing. But the second thing is like, well, what about loose ends that happened after 8, like at the end of 8? Like nothing happened there, or we just assume they were resolved, right? So there's a couple things there I think they could dive more into, and obviously Chris is your way of doing it. Third thing would be different. I think you'd play as Rose. Now, what would this be? Honestly, I have no idea. What I would assume is just and I guess this would be the most this would be the most wild or like radical thing, because it doesn't fully make sense. But if they want to introduce her more as the main character of 9, and you wanted to start that out in 8 through maybe DLC, you could just have her do a mission. So like at the end of 8, she's going on a mission, and now she runs into potentially Ethan's model and all that good stuff, right? But she's going on a mission, right? They could just show us that mission. It doesn't have to be anything massively important. Now you could say, well, why would they make DLC? You'd have to pay for this DLC, you would imagine, right? You pay for the DLC, it's an hour, it's a 2-hour long thing. that takes Capcom, a while to build together. Why would they do all that if it's kind of pointless, if it's not that big of a deal? Well, again, I mean, it depends on what the thing would be. You know what I mean? Is the mission actually very important? Maybe it is. Maybe it leads directly into 9. Maybe, again, they take a model where they look at it and say, hey, we really want to give players an opportunity to look into Rose, right, or to play as Rose, and so it's worth it. Like, even if it's not that big of a mission or not even all that important, we could still have them play as her and kind of get used to her as the main character. Yeah, odd reasoning, probably not the right reasoning for why you would do a DLC, but I would say definitely possible. So I kind of gave you 4 options there. I'm sure there's more. Definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What are some DLCs you would like to see in Resident Evil Village? Do you think we'll get DLCs? When? All that stuff. Let me know. As always, make sure, again, if you haven't already, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. I got a few more Resident Evil ideas that I want to bring to you guys through videos. Let me know if you guys want any, other ideas in the comments, and we will go from there, okay? Thank you so much for your guys' support. I can't thank you enough, and I hope to see you all on the next video.